Welcome everybody. This is Rev Games, and we are going to be trying out some species technology here in frogs, which I have very little experience with. But I want to explain my rationale between a few spicy buffalo card choices here and see whether or not they're worth a shit, despite all the misplays I'm about to make because I'm trying a new deck. But this is more or less just hero frogs. If you're not familiar with the builds, at this point, I mean, I don't know. I don't. I'm no expert, of course, in this deck. I've played like probably less than 5 games with Hero Frogs, but my understanding is this is pretty darn standard. You know, you see some people with the Unifrog. I think maybe there's like a flex spot in the hero part of the deck, but more or less this is the deck. In terms of the monster lineup and the frog ratios, you know, you could flex a battle fader in and out, but I mean that isn't really necessarily going to change the deck, or you could like cut a Ryza or something. But same with the majority of the spells. So this is all staple stuff. The 3 broken ass miracle fusions. I cannot fucking believe this card is a card. Like I sincerely do not get like how it's like miracle fusion, absolute zero are a thing. The traps again are really subject to interpretation. A lot of people have been experimenting with stuff, but it's such a small part of your deck as a frog player that I'm not really even sure it's worth discussing. There's always going to be some mix of Soul Exchange or Econ. The nice thing about Soul Exchange is, you know, targeting face down stuff, face down monsters rather. Turn 1 um, Substitute shenanigans. It is an answer to an opposing Vanity's Fiend, so it's what it is. And then really where I'm experimenting is the instant fusion. So I had a few thoughts on this, and I really wanted to try this for a variety of reasons. So the first and most obvious one would be instant fusion and then sack for a monarch in a pinch. You can uh, instant fusion and then turn 1 wombo combo out everything in your deck that otherwise you wouldn't be able to with Substitute. So you basically instant fusion normal Substitute and just go through your entire frog lineup, which then thins your deck by a lot. You set up your Treeborns or a Treeborn if you do want to keep one in the deck, and then a swap frog in hand, which then can later send it, which again, not being a frog expert, seems like a pretty good idea a lot of the times. And then it has some other very secondary uses, and before I explain those, the reason I'm trying it in frogs or monarchs or hero frogs, whatever you want to call it, is this deck has a lot of wiggle room in um, the extra deck. So there are, in my opinion, like a lot of really good reasons to use this card in something like Diva Heroes, but um, you're very tight on extra deck space for Diva Heroes. So that's really all there is to it. Um, and some of the other reasons are it can pull an E Hero Mariner or Steam Healer. I just went with the one Steam Healer, which is an instant hero. It's an instant water, which means it's an instant missing puzzle piece for your Miracle Fusion, straight from hand. Or you could even, you know, instant fusion sack and then Miracle Fusion, uh, you know, once it's in the grave. The other, like more edge stuff is just sacking it for something like Malicious Edge, which, and if they control a monster, it's just 1 tribute, and then this can get in for a game over something small like a Raiko or whatever it might be. More out there stuff is, you know, enemy controller fodder, of course, just instant fusion, econ something, maybe poke with it, sack. You can instant fusion your Steam Healer out and then use the secondary effect of Stratos to have just an MST. So this can turn into an MST at a moment's notice. It allows you to have super poly access at a moment's notice. So you're running this toolbox of extra deck stuff. So, in the side, if you want to super poly out a missing puzzle piece to then super poly into, with using your opponent's board, of course, an absolute zero or a Gaia or something, or a Raptinus. Well, I guess maybe not Raptinus unless you already have this on board, but the point being that you can really bring out stuff at a moment's notice to use Super Poly. It's a turn one Vanity's Fiend, which is really hard, or is really, I guess, very difficult to do. Um, in a mirror, usually whoever gets Vanity's Fiend out first is in a very winning position. So you just instant fusion, Vanity's Fiend, GG versus the mirror and stuff. Um, and then really, that's most of it. I mean, some of the other stuff is very, very niche. So the only other two notable things, in my opinion, unless I'm really missing something big, is instant fusion does give you more access to level 8s. So, this isn't really a tuner heavy build, but the one we do have, you can go into a 5 quite easily. And this deck very rarely was able to get out level 8s. So it gives you level 8 access. And then the last thing, you might be wondering why we're running Cybersaurus, but I figured if we were going to be running the extra deck toolbox with instant fusion, we might as well run this so that we can instant fusion and reverse contact fuse into this bad boy. So if our opponent leaves up a Cyber Dragon or something, which um, I guess it really depends on, you might be asking the question like why they'd ever have a Cyber Dragon, which is a fair question, but if that ever does happen, or we're playing against machines and they have a Cyber Dragon and nothing else, will you just instant fuse and contact it away? So that's really off the top of my head everything that I can think of on why we would play this card. It just seems super versatile. I think the biggest question would be whether or not it's worth the huge amount you have to commit in the extra deck. I had to cut an absolute zero, for instance, and figure out which were the best ofs for synchros, and it kind of annoys me that these are now out of order. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, so that's really the gist of it. Um, I'm not good enough with frogs to say whether or not this is good, but I don't know. This just seems versatile enough that I think people should be trying it as a one of if they feel that having an extra deck that looks something like this isn't too crippling. Because, I mean, really, we're just on one junk synchron. The extra deck isn't that important of a part of the game plan outside of absolute zero, and I don't know how likely it is that you are ever really going to summon 3 absolute zeros with Miracle Fusion. I mean, if you're that late in the game, yeah, I don't know if you're gonna win at all if you've been able to resolve 3 Miracle Fusions. So the side deck's a mess. I'm not good enough at Edison to know really what's good or bad. I'm just running some of the power traps to sub in depending on our matchup. This is for the mirror. This is for um, machines or anything that's gonna summon big beaters, anything that's graveyard reliant, yada yada yada. So that's the deck profile. We're just going to jump right into a game and see what happens. All right, so we did just try to record a game, and we played Lightsworn. We had a non-game game one, and then I was taking a little bit for some of my turns game two, and I was winning. I actually had lethal that turn, and then my opponent quit. So Lightsworn players, man, gotta love them. All right, so we're gonna give this another shot. Again, I'm no expert at this deck, so I do play a little bit more slowly, and got 2 people trying to join us. What? And some of the combos, like I'm not 100% familiar with. Like I don't know sometimes if it makes sense to leave certain frogs in the deck to play around other stuff or to like keep swaps in hand and stuff, but we'll see. I think I am just gonna gun it like with this. Like hopefully this guy doesn't quit. We can play a full game and what the fuck is that? You can banish 1 card from your graveyard to target a monster on the field and destroy it. monster in the field. So we're still gonna just wombo combo here. I don't see any real reason not to. And we are technically Miracle Fusion live, so this might be a decent illustration of kind of what we're going for. And we do want to bring out this guy. I do want to leave a Treeborn in the deck just because I don't know what the fuck we're up against. And I frankly, yeah, I don't know what the fuck we're up against. So that's really all there is to it. So I don't know if they can banish our shit. Let's bring out the Substitute. Just declare and destroy the other one. Who gives a shit? Maybe we should just, yeah, we'll just end on Duplock. I don't see any real reason not to. Oh, did we fuck this up royally? Yeah, we did. We fucked it up, boys. Yeah, so we just done goofed here. Shit. Oh wait, no we didn't. We're gonna keep this in deck. Oh shit, this is laggy. So we have a Duplock. I wanted to leave one swap just because I think it can be good to recycle. I'm trying to think if there are like other like good ways to like get a swap back to your hand because that seems like there's a lot of utility in that. Um, yeah, but we're getting that shit off the board, no doubt about that. Um, he's at 3,500. So you take 19. Um, I'm not setting Regeki Break here. I don't see any real reason to do that. So Future Samurai could be a Gemini deck. And at this point, I think we're just on the beatdown game plan here. Junk Synchron. I don't think there's any real reason to commit anything more to the board. I think this Absolute Zero can just do work for a while. Yeah, he's gonna have a tough time with this. And we have a follow-up Synchro play, we have a follow-up Miracle Fusion, we have removal, beaters, recursion. These, if they don't miss timing, which is a pain in the neck in and of itself, we can get swaps back. So, looking pretty good. This dude's at 4,000. Who designed this card, dude? What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Alright, target one normal, destroy it. Okay, that's fine with me. And he's gonna destroy this. Gonna banish, destroy. Um, yep, that's totally fine. Now our Miracle Fusion's live. And we're good. So I think we can realistically just Neos Alias and just start swinging and then back it up with something like a Regeki break. I don't really see what good junk synchron will do at this point in the game, although we could junk and then bounce a swap, but like it's not like we have a Monarch. I guess we could junk and go into a 6, but what does a 6 do? I think we just, like on an empty board, there's no real reason to commit a Miracle Fusion. Like we can just get in with this guy. We don't even really have to worry about Torrential just because like these guys come back. Yeah. Just play the slow game. Okay. What's gonna happen here? Depending on how this game goes, by the way, just because it is live gameplay, I might just do one game of the match. Oh shit. Um, and see how it goes. Like if this guy ends up quitting or whatever, like just because live gameplay is tough, so I might just do one game. But if all goes well, then we should be able to do two, or best 2 out of 3. He's gonna clear my board. How's he gonna clear my board? Oh, that's how. Black Rose. So that's desperate. If that is what he's doing. Oh, it's not. Okay, that's fine. Not worried about that. And we are going to declare that, and we are going to get back. We're gonna get the one in our deck. Yeah. This is another card that's like, it's so weird with Edison, the relative power level of stuff. It just really is insane. Like 2000 butt. Okay, so this is Black Rose. No, it's not. Supervise, supervise, supervise. Okay. And we'll get back. I think it's obviously this, right? And then Ryza more or less accomplishes what we want to accomplish. I mean, I guess we could go and get like a big beefy hero, but I don't really see the point, quite frankly. So what we can do is yeah, I think we're distributing this, and we're targeting that, and then we are going to. Is there any swap shenanigans we should pull to try to bounce this? We can special summon it, or we can just, Yeah, we can. Hmm. Guess we could special summon it and then bounce this. Let's see what happens with the attack first. I don't know all like the intricate combos. So if you are watching, like in the comments, please let me know if you see something. If you see something, say something. So yeah, I think we are going to do exactly what I said. I feel like there's a different loop that I've seen, but I can't even remember. And then we do get an extra normal summon from that, which is kind of crazy, right? So that means we could junk into... Is there anything worth junking into? Not really. We could go into a 7 or... Nah, there's not. I don't think so. Yeah, we don't need to junk into anything. I just want the Monarch back. Wow, this stayed up. That's crazy. We are going to just blind space here. Again, I don't really see any real reason not to at this point in the game. Then we're going to try to just win. Andy quit. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. Because there's no ladder on this, and let me actually interrupt myself. I said good luck, have fun, and he didn't respond. This is the Rev hypothesis, which is that if you say that and they don't respond, then probably a dickhead. And the duck murderer, uh, yeah, no acknowledgement, quits. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. As I had mentioned, it's really hard to do these live gameplays just because there's no ladder in Edison and there's no accountability for when you quit. And it's also hard when you're not playing against people with similar skill levels. Like, believe it or not, like with Edison, there are people that like have less of an idea of what's going on than me. So really, this is all I think I want in a vid. People seem to like shorter videos when possible anyway. So I think you kind of get the idea of instant fusion and kind of what it can do and how early we were able to pop off. Lastly, if you think this is a good idea to try it out. Drop me a like, subscribe, but really what I'm here for is to get better. So if there are different like frog combos that you see or different ways to use swap frog, that's really the most important information just because I can play, 25 games here and never run into a frog player because you're just running into the most random obscure shit all the time because there's no ladder. So, yeah, thanks for watching and have a good one.